Hi, my name is April Foster, and this is God's Mighty Hand, Lesson 3. And in this lesson, we'll start as normal with a word of prayer, then go into memory work and Bible facts. If we have time, we might not because it's a beefy lesson, then go into the lesson and then finish with our activities. All right, so as always, the lesson narrative that I'm using is available online in the free download below, as well as all the other visual aids and activities that you can find. Okay, so we start this class reminding the kids of what Pharaoh we're talking about here. So just like the Herods in the New Testament, the Pharaohs changed in the Old Testament, and kings changed as well. So this is the Pharaoh in power with Joseph. Then this is the Pharaoh where we ended our last lesson with wanted to throw all the babies in the water. And then this is the Pharaoh now that Moses has left Egypt and is living in the land of Midian. He's 80 years old, and so a new Pharaoh has come to power. So we have 3 different Pharaohs we're talking about here. We go straight into this Pharaoh who was harsh to the people, and you have a little text at the bottom that kind of explains the picture along with the lesson narrative. Moses is in Midian and he sees the burning bush. God talks to them to give him confidence to go talk to Pharaoh. He gives him 3 signs. So you have him pouring the water out onto the ground and it turning to blood. Now there's a neat visual aid if you want to use it. You can get it at Amazon. It is, if you search the words, I think it's called blood bath mat. It's a little morbid, but what happens is it's a bath mat that is pretty thin, so you could cut it and use it in various classes if you'd like. Where it's white, and when you pour water on it, it turns red like blood. So it's a good visual, especially for those younger levels 1 and 2, but also might be interesting for levels 3 and 4 as well. So you can introduce that here if you'd like, and I'll try to leave a link below so you can access that pretty easily, but things come and go, so it may be broken by then, but search blood bath mat on Amazon and that should get you where you need to go if you'd like to use this visual aid. All right, and then another sign he used was throwing his staff down and it turned into a snake and then picking it back up again. So you have that visual, and then the leprous hand and putting it in his cloak and then back out and it being leprous. And so you have those visuals, and then still he didn't have the confidence, and so God told him to take Aaron. And so you have them going before Pharaoh, Aaron casting down his rod, it turning into a snake. And then the cliffhanger we leave this week is the magicians are able to repeat the trick. So how is Pharaoh ever going to let the people go? And so, but God has a plan. Don't worry. Okay, so that is the lesson in a nutshell. The activities you have are the 3 signs. This is for levels 1 through 4, the 3 different signs that God gave Moses when he was at the burning bush. You can have them draw them out. You can also have them do this while you're telling the lesson if you'd like. That's another way to do it. Another piece for the older kids is the verse in Exodus 3, verse 5. And here's your answer key. They're just going to cut these apart into strips and then glue them down in order on a piece of paper. And then this is for all the children, and there's 2 different ways to do this. And so you have 2 different versions. You have the worksheet style here that has each of the different pharaohs and then each of the different events that happened. And so you'll work with them to either cut them apart and glue them on the paper for them to take home, or what we'll probably plan to do in class is just lay this sheet of paper on the table. And then from my bag, I'll have them draw a card. And so this one says, Moses grew up in the palace with him. So we would lay that next to this Pharaoh, just right beneath it. And the kids would continue to do that as they draw them out of the bag. And that is it for lesson 3 of God's Mighty Hand.